thanks for joining me. This is Jessie, and I am going to be reviewing Book of Night by Holly Black. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me, from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. That is from My Shadow by Robert Louis Stevenson. Holly Black takes the shadow of Peter Pan story, or part of the story, and turns it on its head and in a completely darker direction. When I realized I was going to love this book so much, I went and I looked up Holly Black, hoping to find more novels like this, but it turns out that she actually doesn't write adult novels like this. She writes YA novels. This is the way to enter into the adult genre because this was absolutely terrifying. So it follows Charlie Hall. Charlie Hall is a con artist. She lives with her boyfriend Vince, who doesn't have a shadow, and her sister Posey, who wants to be a gloamist. So gloamists are the people who have the shadow magic. They can quicken shadows to make them tangible. They can cut shadows off of other people. They can control their shadows. They can cut shadows to have certain shapes. Like they can make their shadow look like they're angels, like they have wings, or like they're a cat. There's a very, very dark side of the shadow magic, though, and that is that the shadows can be cut off of people, and instead of just dying or withering away, these shadows have been quickened and fed so much during their time connected to their person that they become blights. And blights, they're dark, they're angry, they're hateful, they're murderous. And there was a blight that was allegedly responsible for the killing of dozens of people at some point. And so it's not just fun and games and party tricks with your shadow. There's actual real danger here. Charlie was taught from a young age from one of her mother's boyfriends, Rand. She was taught at a young age how to be a con artist, how to steal things, how to charm your way in, how to make yourself look like somebody you're not, how to become a character that isn't you. So much so that if somebody saw you on the street, they wouldn't realize that that was the same person who had conned them. And during one of their cons, which is at Lionel Salt's house, he's a billionaire and everybody knows he's dangerous. And at the very beginning, Charlie tells Rand that this isn't a good idea, but they go anyway. Rand ends up getting murdered, and Charlie barely escapes with her life with the help of somebody in the house, but she doesn't know who that somebody is. So she grows up and she becomes the con artist that she was taught to be, and she's good at it. She's amazingly good at it. She can get in and out of places without anybody ever knowing she's there. She can get into anywhere. And so for the majority of her adult life, she's been stealing books on gloaming, books on shadow magic from people for other people who want the information for themselves, because of course if magic actually did exist, everybody would want it. And it would be one of those things where the rich and powerful would want it for themselves. They would want to control it. They would want to control how much information other people have, what they could do, and they would want the majority of that power for themselves. And that really comes into play in this book. At some point, Charlie decides that she doesn't want to do it anymore. It's after she gets shot, and so she kind of convinces herself that she doesn't want to be in it anymore. It's gotten too dangerous. And she starts working at a bar under the watchful eye of Odette. It's a very interesting bar. They have shows, they have drag shows, they have musical shows, and a lot of people come in and out of that bar. Like a lot of interesting characters, more than your around the bend type place. It's the dark and seedy underbelly of the Berkshires. And so one day, somebody from Charlie's past comes in and she's begging her to find her boyfriend. She goes, I know you can find anything and anybody. My boyfriend's missing. I think he's gone on a bender. I want you to find him. And this person that has asked her to find her boyfriend, her brother works for college admissions. her sister is in default with her college loans and she needs a little bit more time to pay. So she agrees. She goes, okay, I'll find your boyfriend. But you have to fix this problem with my sister's college tuition. We're not asking you to erase it. I just need a couple more weeks to be able to make payments. And so this girl agrees. And Charlie goes after her boyfriend, who she believes is what they call rolling bliss. And this is where somebody tweaks your shadow to make you feel emotions or basically give you a really, really high feeling. But even with rolling bliss, there's darkness, there's danger to it, because somebody can tweak your shadow and make you feel like you're being murdered for weeks on end. And it's not bliss. But people are willing to take that risk to actually have their shadow tweaked into feeling like they're high and happy and in paradise. And so Charlie sets out after this person, and she has burner phones. She reaches out to this person and somehow gets pulled into selling a book. And so she thinks that this person has a book that she can turn around and sell to other glomists. And just to find the boyfriend, she kind of falls into this storyline of, yes, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this book. So as she's searching for this person, she falls more and more back into that world of gloaming and the books that go along with it and shadows and shadow magic. And it's getting more and more dangerous for her. And she's doing things that she had said she wasn't going to do again. And she's making deals with people that she hadn't talked to in a long time. And there's also her previous boss, who had been the one to set her up with jobs to find and steal and sell these shadow magic books. He's wanting her to come back and work for him because she was the best. And she's like, no, I don't want to. He's like, well, what are you doing right now? She's like, I'm really just doing a favor for a friend. And so this person that she's looking for, Adam, the book that he has, it's not just any old shadow magic book. It is a book that a lot of people want. And so it's getting more and more dangerous. When she finally finds him and she calls the girl who had hired her and said, hey, he's at this hotel, everything kind of falls apart, because the guy, Adam, he had traded essentially this book for secrets. And so she took the book and the secrets, and then he ended up with nothing and owing people. He also had stolen a ring from his girlfriend and had pawned that to try to offset some of the costs, because he really thought that after this he was going to be rich as hell. And so the girl comes and he's like, how did you even know I was here? And this turns into something entirely different, because this guy gets really, really angry and he starts going after Charlie. And by this time, Charlie has already gotten the ring back from the pawn shop where he sold it to, because she knows the pawn shop owner. The pawn shop owner gives her an onyx knife, and onyx is said to solidify shadows. So if a shadow is in shadow form, like it'll make them solid. I'm not really quite sure how to explain that, but it makes sense in the book. And so she goes off, and she's got the ring. When she gives the ring back to the girl is furious. She's like, you don't know what you did. You ruined his life, and he was just doing this to make us a better life. And she's like, you're the one who hired me. And the girl's like, you're a demon, Charlie Hall. And this seems to be a recurring theme. Like, people that Charlie has encounters with, like, she ends up invariably on their bad side, and they call her all sorts of names and think that she's like the devil incarnate or something. So she goes on her own way, but this guy Adam, he's following her and making her life really dangerous. And then in the meantime, she's gotten into an argument with Vince because somebody came into her bar looking for a book, and this person's shadow was quickened so much that he could control it, and it could put itself in Charlie, and that was scary. It was scary for Charlie. And then she got into a fight with this person. Vince comes in and kills him. and then cleans up the scene, because that's what Vince does. Vince cleans up murder scenes. And so Charlie's just left there like, okay, I've been keeping secrets from Vince, but what has Vince been keeping from me? What kind of secrets does he have? Because it didn't even seem like he batted an eye when he killed this person. So then they get into an argument about who's keeping what secrets from who, and Vince leaves, and enter Lionel Salt again. So Lionel Salt picks out Charlie and says that there's a book that was stolen from him a long time ago, and that his grandson, Edmund Carver, stole it from him. And he goes, you might know him. His name, he goes by Vince now. And Charlie loses her mind for a moment. She's like, no. Vince cannot possibly be connected to you, you crazy psycho billionaire. But she sees pictures of him and she starts looking him up. And yeah, when she looks at pictures of Edmund Carver from the past before he allegedly died, it looks like Vince. And so Charlie is forced into trying to find this book for Lionel Salt. He takes her at gunpoint, and then he takes her to a spa place, and her and his daughter go to the spa, and they get cleaned up, and then they have lunch like it's nothing, like it's like they're just friends having a lunch date together or something. It's really weird the way he does this, and the weirdness and the terrifying aspect of it isn't lost on Charlie. But as she's having lunch with him and he's telling her, you're going to do this for me, you're going to find this book and you're going to have it to me in a week, she's kind of going through her head on how to con him. And that's basically the last, I want to say, half of the book is Charlie trying to get out of this situation that she's found herself in. And she's kind of alone because she doesn't have Vince. The people who are around her, she's worried that they're going to be kind of pulled into this darkness with her. And then more secrets start falling out, and it just all gets really disturbing. But it's an amazing book. I absolutely adored it. It got to the point where, like, even though I'm tired and I have a headache. I've had a headache for like the last 3 days, and I'm still stuffy. Like, even though I'm still, like, with the lingering effects of COVID, like, I was up after I went and picked up my son from work. I was up reading this book, and I'd get up and the first thing I'd want to do is read this book. It was very good. I'm probably going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. And the only reason is because the ending isn't really what I thought it was going to be. The ending makes sense. If you're really following along with the mechanics of the magic, like it kind of makes sense at the end, but also it wasn't the ending that I wanted. But again, this is the ARC. I can't tell you too much about the ending because they might change it, and that is definitely something that I'm going to be going and picking up when it's released. And it is set to be released by Tor in May. And it looks like they do have the cover dropped already. It's a magic system that I hadn't run across ever or even thought of. She does a really, really good job, like, breaking it down. And then there's books, like, she names the books. And there's certain aspects of storytelling that when you incorporate them in, it gives it a realer feel. Naming your horses. Naming your weapons, describing trees in the settings, and including the names of books that pertain to the subject. And this is really good because not only does she steal these books, but the names of the books are in here. There's quotes from the books. It's a really well thought out magic system, and I have to tell you, for her first venture into adult fiction, I think she has done a phenomenal job, and it makes me want to go read some of her older books. I think there was The Cruel Prince, and I think there was a series based around that. So at some point I might go back and actually pick up some of these YA novels that she's written. I sincerely hope, though, that she continues with adult fiction because she did an amazing, amazing job with this. So, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I hope you pick up this book because it is amazing. pick it up when it comes out. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe below.